Have you ever caught yourself saying, oh, I'm just not good at that? Or maybe watched someone else just excel and thought, wow, they're just a natural.
Happens all the time, right? Most of us have been there.
Exactly. So today we're diving deep into something that might really shift how you see yourself, your abilities, your whole path forward, actually. It's the power of mindsets.
Mm-hmm. And we're drawing heavily here from Carol Dweck's work, especially her book Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. It's really foundational stuff.
It really is. So our mission, our goal for this deep dive is to unpack these two core mindsets. Dweck identifies the fixed and the growth mindset.
Yeah, and explore how they really ripple out and affect pretty much every part of our lives. Learning, relationships, leadership, even just, changing ourselves.
You're going to find some surprising things, some really practical insights, hopefully, to help you maybe cultivate more of that growth mindset and unlock potential.
We want to go beyond just definitions today, really see them in action.
Okay, so let's start with the core distinction. Many listening might know this, but it's worth recapping. The fixed mindset. What's the core belief there?
It's basically the idea that your qualities, intelligence, personality, your basic abilities, they're like carved in stone, fixed, deep-seated traits.
So you're either smart or you're not, talented or you're not. End of story.
Pretty much. And success then becomes about proving you're smart, proving you have it. Failure, that just means you aren't smart. Effort and struggle, they're not really part of that picture.
Right. And then you contrast that with the growth mindset. How does that differ?
Well, the growth mindset holds that these human qualities, they can be cultivated, through experience, through training, through sheer effort. It's the belief that your intelligence, your personality, they can actually be developed.
So the key difference isn't just what you believe, but the implication for failure and effort, right?
Absolutely. In the fixed mindset, because abilities feel static, failure is terrifying. It feels like a judgment on who you fundamentally are. If you struggle, it confirms you're not smart enough.
Which explains why someone might avoid challenges.
Exactly. It even limits the desire to learn sometimes. But the growth mindset, it sees that struggle, that effort, as the actual path to getting better. It's a totally different lens.
That reminds me of that amazing story Dweck tells about the kids doing those tough puzzles. You'd think they'd all get frustrated if they couldn't solve them.
Yeah, but some didn't. Some kids, they'd rub their hands together, smack their lips, and just say, I love a challenge.
And wasn't there another one sweating, but looking pleased, saying something like, I was hoping this would be informative?
That's the one. It just blew up the idea that failure is always a bad thing. For those kids, the growth-minded ones, these hard puzzles weren't failures. They were opportunities.
Opportunities to learn, to stretch themselves.
Right, even if they didn't get the answer right away. And that's not just some cute observation about kids. It shows how deeply these beliefs affect how you approach any challenge, how you learn, really how you live.
Okay, so with that foundation fixed versus growth, let's look at where the rubber meets the road. How does this play out in learning and achievement?
Well, the fixed mindset can really turn you into what Dweck calls a non-learner. It sounds harsh, but think about it.
Yeah, that example she gives of the college students. They were offered an English course designed to help them improve, right? But they weren't interested.
Exactly. They actually chose to potentially risk their whole college career just to feel smart in the short run. They avoided anything that might expose a weakness or deficiency. They didn't even pay attention sometimes to information that could help them learn if they got an answer wrong.
Wow. So the fear of looking not smart overrides the desire to actually get smarter.
That's the crux of it. Why avoid learning if it helps you improve? But contrast that with the growth mindset, which links up perfectly with what we know about brain development.
The brainology concept. Tell us about that.
Well, it's this idea, backed by neuroscience, that when you challenge your brain, when you learn new things, you literally form new neural connections. Your brain cells multiply, they get stronger. Your brain physically changes, it grows with effort.
So it's not just a metaphor. Learning actually builds your brain.
Yeah.
Effort makes difficult things easier over time because your brain adapts.
Precisely. And that reframes the whole idea of effort itself. For the fixed mindset, needing effort is kind of embarrassing. It casts doubt on your ability. Great geniuses aren't supposed to need it, right?
If you have to try hard, maybe you're not that talented to begin with.
But for the growth mindset, effort is what ignites ability. It's what turns potential into actual accomplishment. Think about Jackson Pollock.
The artist.
Yeah. Experts apparently agreed he didn't have a huge amount of native talent for art, but through sheer effort and persistence, he revolutionized modern art. Talent alone wasn't the story there. Effort was the engine.
That's a great example. And we see this in sports constantly, don't we? This obsession with naturals.
Oh, absolutely. People like Billy Beane in baseball, or maybe Sonny Liston in boxing, John McEnroe in tennis. People often talked about them as just having this raw, innate talent.
But then you look at someone like Michael Jordan. He pushed back against that narrative, didn't he?
He did. When he came back to basketball and everyone was freaking out, he said he was shocked with the level of intensity. He emphasized, I'm a human being like everyone else. He knew how hard he'd work. He wasn't just coasting on natural gifts.
And Babe Ruth, too, right? Not just raw power.
Definitely not. He had incredible power, sure. But after a big slump in 1925, he didn't just rely on talent. He committed to serious training, getting in shape, practicing like crazy, and he came back like a rocket. That comeback was pure growth mindset in action.
It even shows up in coaching styles, like Coach John Wooden at UCLA. 10 championships.
An absolute legend. And his philosophy wasn't just about winning. It was about effort, the process, developing players.
He actually said he could have made Kareem Abdul-Jabbar the all-time leading scorer in college, but he focused on team development around Kareem to win championships.
Right. That's huge. It shows how a growth mindset in a leader isn't just about finding the superstar and validating them. It's about fostering collective growth. How can we all get better together?
That's a powerful shift. Okay, let's pivot slightly. How do these mindsets affect something maybe even more personal, our relationships?
Oh, profoundly. With a fixed mindset, Dweck suggests people often look for an ideal mate, someone who will put them on a pedestal, make them feel perfect, almost worship them.
Basically, someone who validates their existing fixed qualities. It sounds, well, a bit fragile.
It can be. Because what happens when reality intrudes? In contrast, people with a growth mindset, they can see their partner's imperfections in their own and still build and maintain a really strong relationship. They expect growth and change.
And how do they handle conflict differently? That seems key.
Big difference. When faced with rejection or a fight, the fixed mindset often feels judged, labeled. The reaction can be anger, bitterness, even wanting revenge, wanting the other person to suffer.
Ouch.
Yeah. But the growth mindset, the focus tends to be more on understanding, forgiving, and moving on. Learning from what happened. How can I learn from this? How can we improve this relationship, or how can I do better next time?
You see this in parenting, too, the impact of praise. Yeah. Praising kids for being smart.
Right, that can actually backfire. It can instill a fixed mindset. Makes them afraid to try hard things where they might fail and not look smart. Like that mom Dweck mentions, whose bright fifth grader avoided difficult work because, then he would think he's not smart.
So what's the alternative? Praising effort.
Exactly. Praising the effort, the process, the strategies they use, the learning itself. Like that story of Elizabeth, the 9-year-old gymnast.
Oh yeah, after her bed meet.
Her dad didn't just say, "You're great." He told her the truth about her performance, but then crucially, he focused on practice, on learning from the mistakes. What happened next?
She won 5 ribbons and the championship at the next meet. He taught her how to succeed, not just affirm some static quality.
Precisely. He helped her build a growth mindset towards gymnastics.
Okay, so we've seen how these mindsets shape learning, achievement, relationships. It can feel a bit daunting, maybe realizing you lean towards a fixed mindset in some areas. But the really hopeful part of Dweck's work is
that you can change. Mindsets aren't permanent fixtures. Just learning about them, becoming aware, that can kickstart what she calls a personal revolution.
So how do you actually do that? How do you cultivate more of a growth mindset?
Well, there are practical steps. First, you need to learn to recognize your fixed mindset triggers. What situations set it off for you? Is it failure? Criticism? Tight deadlines? Disagreements?
So identify the cues. What's next?
This one sounds a bit funny, but it can be really effective. Give your fixed mindset voice a name, like, I don't know, Dale Denton, or maybe just your middle name, something to externalize it.
Externalize it so you can sort of talk back to it.
Kind of. It helps you create distance. It's not you, it's this fixed mindset persona. And then you need to educate that persona. Take Dale on the journey with you.
Explain to Dale that effort is good, that mistakes are learning opportunities.
Exactly. Help that part of you understand that growth is the goal, not just proving yourself. It's an internal dialogue shift.
And this whole process, it connects to habit formation, doesn't it? Like the cue routine reward loop.
Absolutely. You identify the cue, the trigger. You consciously choose a new routine, a growth mindset response, like focusing on learning from a mistake instead of feeling judged. And you find a way to reward that new behavior. Over time, the new pathway gets stronger.
It's like rewiring your brain's response.
It is. And interestingly, there are even parallels with like ancient Stoic philosophy here.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, think about practices like premeditatio malorum. That's basically mentally preparing for adversity, thinking through potential challenges so they don't derail you. Or amor fati, embracing whatever happens, seeing setbacks not just as bad luck, but as part of life, maybe even opportunities.
Right, building that emotional resilience. That fits perfectly with the growth mindset's acceptance of challenges, not seeing them as just things to fear, but things to navigate and learn from.
Exactly. It all comes back to this core idea that we have agency. We can influence our beliefs and our reactions. That's incredibly empowering.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you listening? We've seen how this seemingly simple belief, are my abilities fixed or can they grow? Really shapes almost everything.
Learning, achievement, relationships, leadership. It's not about striving for perfection. It's about embracing continuous development.
So maybe ask yourself this question. What is success, really? Is it about proving you're special and flawless?
Or is it about doing your best, learning as you go, and constantly improving?
Think about one area in your life right now where maybe, just maybe, you're holding onto a fixed mindset. Could be a skill, a relationship, anything.
What's one small step, just one thing you could do today to lean into the challenge instead of away from it, to welcome the effort, to start cultivating growth in that area?
Remember that teacher Dweck quotes, "All students can learn, even the ones who struggle." It's a powerful belief.
What if we really applied that same belief, that fundamental possibility of growth, to ourselves and maybe to everyone around us too?